Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, and as you know, if I've got my spectacles on, in most times anyway, it means it's a Let's Talk video, and from the title you can see that this is a Let's Talk video on being married for 1 year. So, you will see this video after our first wedding anniversary, and I actually spoke about my engagement on my YouTube channel. I wasn't married when I started YouTube, and I was with Claire. I'd done a few videos before, but I'd sort of taken them down. But I was with Claire when I really got into YouTube, and there's been a few things actually. It really helped because I moved to a new place. I'd lived in Leicester for a really long time. I moved in with Claire and I had no one, and YouTube became my main friendship circle. It's really weird that happened, but it worked for me to be able to connect with new people, even though I'd moved away from the town the city that I'd lived for quite a while. Anyway, meeting Claire has been the best thing that could have ever happened to me, and being married to Claire has been amazing. So I wanted to talk to you about one, same-sex marriage. So we were really lucky that there was the opportunity to get married as same-sex partners. As you know, Claire is lesbian and I am bisexual, so we're not in a lesbian relationship, we are in a relationship where there happens to be two women. For me, marriage wasn't something that I'd ever considered, but I always thought that it was up to everybody to have the choice of whether they got married. And it was so great when finally there was equal marriage for everybody in the UK. Even though at the time it wasn't something I considered. A couple of my friends had been civil partnered, and others had got married. So, you know, it was great. I wish that civil partnerships had just been marriage from the offset, if I'm honest. I couldn't understand why there was all this them and us thing. So when Claire proposed, which was the best day of my life, apart from being married obviously, it was just so romantic, it was so amazing, she was just so fabulous, and I was so shocked because she'd always told me she didn't want to get married to that point. So we've been together a year. So I want to give you the ins and outs of what happens when you decide that you're going to get married. Firstly, you have to, there's so many things you've got to do. Set a date. Decide when you're getting married. Don't just get engaged and have a long engagement, unless that's what you want. But if you are getting engaged, part of me felt as soon as she'd proposed, we need to set the date now, because if we don't do it, we'll never do it. Like, we're lazy. Like, we're lazy people. So actually setting the date was so important. So set the date. We decided, we got engaged in the January on my birthday, and then we decided to have the wedding a year the following May. So it was like almost 16 months roughly from the date of being engaged, which I think is an appropriate time. It gave us time as well to let people know and give people warning and, you know, all of that stuff. Decide as well together what it is that you want. Now, Claire and I both agreed that we just didn't want a massive wedding. If it was up to me, I would have just gone to a registry office that morning and got married in like our own clothes. But we realised that we had close family that really would have liked to celebrate. So it wasn't just for them, we wanted to celebrate with them. We don't drink, and so it would have been completely wasted on us to have a traditional sort of wedding breakfast and then, you know, booze and all of this. It just wouldn't have been us. So we went, we decided that we would invite immediate family only. Claire had her two sisters, her mum and dad, and her nephews and nieces. I then had my brother, my mum, my grandma, my uncle, and my brother's wife and his kids. So there was, all together, including me and Claire, there was 17 people coming to the wedding. We didn't want it to be a long day. We wanted it to be a nice, simple affair. We've all got dogs, and my mum was also in dialysis on that day. So we didn't want to, you know, make it too much for mum. But I was always concerned that my friends would want to celebrate with us, and I also wanted to make it quite informal. I didn't want to have a formal wedding. I just felt like it needed to be really relaxed, and Claire felt the same. We were both on the same page. There are other reasons as well. Now, I might like to be centre of attention, but Claire doesn't. She doesn't want to be in front of loads of people. She doesn't feel comfortable in a dress. She doesn't feel comfortable. It just isn't her thing, and I respected that. And so we made some real conscious decisions to have a very balanced wedding. So on the 28th of May we got married in Bakewell, and there is a video, and I'm going to be including it in, you'll have seen it yesterday anyway, yeah, so we got married in a registry office in Bakewell, which was lovely, 17 of us, and then we went for afternoon tea because we love cake, we love sandwiches, and we love tea. So it just worked out perfectly for all of us, and we knew everybody would enjoy that as well. And we all sat in a lovely room, and it was just us, and we just had a lovely afternoon tea, and we were just so happy. It was amazing. The day was lovely, the photographs were lovely, they were really natural. I didn't want any staged photographs. I really don't like them. And so my brother took all the photographs with his camera, and it was just a lovely day. Perfect. Loved it. Couldn't have gone better. After our wedding, it was half term, and my nephew was over from America, and I'd planned it that he would be there so that he would have people to play with, and that's my other nephews and nieces. So they all played together, and we just had a lovely time off. We had a week off where we did planning for the reception, and we literally saw everybody, and we just spent time with people that we loved, and we managed to have quality time, and it was lovely. So that was great. And then on the reception we decided to have a sort of a mini festival type feel, almost like a summer fete type feel. So we had a guy called Rob Simpson who sang, and he sang outside, and we had everybody bringing picnic blankets, and we asked people not to bring gifts. We didn't want any wedding presents. It was just way too much to expect people to do that. We'd asked them to travel, we'd asked them to come along, and we don't need anything. Like, we're very happy, we're very comfortable in our, not financial position, you know, it would be nicer to have more money, but we're okay. We can afford Kellogg's. That's always how I measure, you know, how comfortable you are. So even though we don't, but we can afford to eat, you know, buy a Sainsbury's shop, for example, but we don't. We buy Aldi because we have other things that we want to use our money on. That's not the point. Anyway, going off on the right tangent. Anyway, we had everybody there that we just wanted to be there. We had a really relaxed atmosphere. We had a bouncy castle because we wanted all the kids there. We had an enclosed space so all the dogs could be there, and we had everybody bring food, and there was food for miles. There was food for miles. It was amazing. It was incredible, and it was everybody really enjoyed the day because it was so relaxed. When I think of Claire and I, and anybody who's come round to our house and has spent time with us, they always comment on how relaxed we are. We always have a really relaxed attitude. We're very hospitable, and, you know, our home is very chilled out. Like, we don't have children, we've got Rupert, and we love how quiet and relaxed and just very, very laid back our household is, and that was how our wedding was. What you have to do though is, when you've set your date, you have to make sure that you let the registry office know, you book the registry office, and you pay for that. Then you've got to go through a process of registering your marriage, which you do at your local town hall. I didn't know this, did not know this. I didn't know you had to do this, and you have to pay for that. Altogether, the whole cost of your wedding, in terms of the registration of the marriage and your the hall and the town hall for getting married, the registry office, cost around £220, and actually that's really cost effective. So for those of you who just want to get married, 220 quid, you are sorted. So you have to let them know 6 weeks, I believe. Oh, it might be 12 weeks actually. Is it 12 weeks or? I'll have to look this up, I can't remember. It's either 12 weeks, 6 weeks or 6 months. I can't remember. But you have to register your marriage. They go through a process where they take each of you into a room separately, and they ask you questions about your partner. Now, Claire's got an awful memory. They ask you questions about their job, and you have to say about your mum and dad's job and stuff like that. So they put it all on your, they basically say whether you can get married or not. So that's quite nerve-wracking, actually. So you get that done, and they put the notice of marriage in, well, they actually put it on a board in the at the council, so that people can say whether they say yes to it or no to it. At that point, people could actually say shouldn't happen, marriage shouldn't happen. But usually it goes in the local paper as well, so there's like notifications of marriages and deaths and etc. So the registrar's office does all of that. That's what you have to do, just in case you didn't know, because we didn't know. If you didn't know what it is that you got to do when you get married, you have to say where you're getting married, and then you've got to register your marriage. You don't get your certificate at this point. It all happens when you actually go in to have your wedding day, your registry. Churches can do this as well, but actually everything is registered. So it just depends where you want it. You have to go to a place where you can have an official registrar. So the building actually has to be licensed for weddings. So just so you know, if you're thinking about getting married just anywhere, you do have to have an official registrar, or it has to be licensed for weddings. Little tip there if you're looking. So we got married at Bakewell, I told you already, and we walked in, and you do all of the paperwork first, and then they go through all of the things like your vows and everything, and you pick your vows before you go. You don't have to remember them, they speak them, it's all fine, and you're so nervous, and it doesn't matter whether you're the most confident person in the world. There's still an element of nerves because it's excitement more than anything. So that is what happens. And then you're married. You get given your marriage certificate, and that's it. It's done. You think, anyway. Everything else you have to, oh my goodness, there's so much hard work. So we decided to double barrel our names. I was Leah Shafik, Claire was Claire Lander, and now with the Lander-Shafiks. We decided that that was the way to go for us. Which was actually, I really love being a Lander-Shafik. That, for me, works really well. It's like, the weirdest thing in the world is changing your surname if you decide to do that. You don't have to. There's nothing to say you have to. And my advice would be, it is a right pain in the bum to change stuff when you have it all in your original name. Especially when there's two women. If you are a female couple, you both have to use that certificate to change everything, and my god, there's so much to change, and there's so much you have to send it off, and you receive it and you send it off. It is a right nightmare. And even now I have stuff that I need to change. My PayPal, for example, still trying to change that right now, which will have happened hopefully by the time. But stuff like that, you're just like, my god, there's so much to change. Genuinely didn't realise the hassle of changing your name. If you're changing your name, you can't change it to something else without deed poll, unless if it's on your marriage certificate, then it can be Lander-Shafik. They put your original names on the marriage certificate, and as long as one of the original names is in your surname, then that's how they take it as an official document. I was thinking that we might actually change our name altogether and become the Lavenders. I thought that would have been quite cool, but that would have just taken even more paperwork. I just couldn't be bothered with it. That's how lazy we are. Anyway, so that is basically how we got married. I'm so happy to have been married to Claire for a whole year. If Claire ends up watching this video, she doesn't always watch my videos, but if she does, I love you so much. And I'm so, so proud to be your wife, and for you to be the perfect partner. We are so lucky to have met each other and to get on as well as we do. You're my best friend, and you are my absolute world, and I could never have done anything without you over the last few years. I adore you, and here's to a billion more years together. I love you. So that's it. Thank you so much for watching. Give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Please comment down below, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye guys.